welcome our guests in because I love when people are on time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It just makes it just that much more better. So he is an artist whose video, it was a freestyle flow following the murder of George Floyd. And then he had a subsequent one following the murder of Rayshard Brooks. Both of those videos went viral in his he has a lockdown series that he does. And, you know, a lot of times people see viral things and they stop right there. But, you know, your girl went further. And I see you there. Just go ahead and request to join. And, you know, I had to jump on the bandwagon, you know, before he got too big, too big. So, yeah, he is a phenomenal rapper, doing big things out in England. Although we've just kind of encountered him, you know, he's been on this grind for a minute, and we're going to talk to him about that and so much more. So again, I want to welcome an artist who has went viral with this video, and many voices of the community I would like to welcome to Badda. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, sister. How are you doing? Good evening.
Oh my goodness, great evening to you. I was just telling everybody, you know, who you were. And the reason that I do this Many Voices of the Community is to reach out to friends and family since the onset of novel coronavirus, or the coronavirus novel COVID-19, and then the subsequent murder of George Floyd and Brother Rayshard Brooks, lynchings, protests, mask, gloves, just everything, and just to lay my eyes on you and brother and say, how are you doing,
Uh,
really?
um, Under the circumstances, we're so quick to say, "Oh, I'm fine, or I'll be okay," and really, no, we're not okay. We're far from okay.
Yeah,
We've been suffering this mental trauma for like 400 years now,
yeah,
and it's so it's so easy for society to just move on, and we deal with each individual case. And after that case is dealt with, then we carry on. And it's still systemic. It's built into the fabric of our systems. And when I say our, yours, mine, the American system, the UK system, it's not much different. A lot of
yeah.
people think it's not much different. It was the
Mhm.
same guys who were fighting in the Civil War. It was all of them, the us. So it hasn't changed much. And to be quite honest, I feel like something inside is burning. We have to do something now.
Yeah,
This doesn't feel like one of those ones where, oh, we can protest for a while and then we let it go. It feels this time like there's no letting go.
yeah.
I have kids, and what
Hmm.
I've taught my kids and how I've brought them up, like they know that there's a lot of injustice in the world, and they know we're treated unfairly as black people. And how I've explained it to them, everything we're doing is for you. So I'm not giving up this fight. There's
Yeah,
there's no way. So
yeah,
we're
yeah.
just pushing over here, sister. We're pushing.
Yeah. And you know, so much has happened, as you mentioned, around the world. And just in 2020, you know, we had this vision, we had this clarity, you know, we was
Yeah.
gonna make it, you know, we got our 2020 vision, and
Oh yeah.
COVID shut down the world. We did a pivot even in that, you know, like I said, George Floyd, then Rayshard Brooks, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Blue Blood. I mean, the emotional state and livelihood of the black man is at stake. And it's hard to explain, right? Even as a woman, a black woman, I know your plight, but I don't know what you go through every day walking around as a black man. And it's so hard for you to describe, or you know, or even to teach your children. Share with us, brother, like, what is that like, really?
It's such a hard job because you're trying to teach. Like I give an example. Like my mum and my nan, rest in peace. They both used to always drum into us. You've got to work twice as hard as the white man. And I know it's not fair, but that's just the way it is. And Momo, I I was a little rebel when I was younger. So
No.
no, well, I know it's hard to believe, but that information for me, I took in that information and I thought, no, why should I have to work twice as hard as him sitting next to me in the class? And
Mm.
I was quite I was quite academically good. I was good at academically. So I wouldn't have to necessarily pay as much attention as the rest of the class, and then I might try and catch it up in the last half an hour. So I couldn't see why I have to work twice as hard as him. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I'm working at half the pace he is and
Yeah.
still achieving the same. So why have I got to work twice? So I rebelled and went the other way and I said, well, bun that system. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Mm.
So my background is a Jamaican background. So there's lots
Bop,
of,
bop, 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 bop.
that's what I'm saying. I see your reggae shows. I see them. So, you know, we have a lot of influential artists out there who are quite against the whole white man system and white supremacy, and they call over here London, they call it Babylon, and so they look at me as their cousin who lives in the heart of Babylon.
Mm.
So this is like the belly of the beast is how this is described over here. And yeah, we've always had this fight inside us, but we could never get it out. And the more we try to speak, the more they try to shut it down. And it's the same thing what you guys are experiencing. We've got the same thing. We've got cases you've never heard of. A guy
Yeah.
called Mark Duggan. They shot Mark Duggan in North London because of, they said they thought he had a gun. So they shot him.
That's the story. That's the
Same
going
story.
narrative.
Same story. That's the same narrative they run in with. We had a guy called Stephen Lawrence. This was a famous case in London. Stephen Lawrence was stabbed by some white guys. And the evidence was overwhelming. His mom and his whole family, they pumped all their money into it, all their resources, just to fight this case. And the more they fought it, the more you could see, oh, this is systemic racism. This is, and then one of the guys had a, I don't know, he was related to a police officer high up. Oh, that's why we're not getting through. It took 20 years, MoMo, for her to get some kind of justice. She got her justice the other day. We've been seeing this our whole lives. So
Wow.
we've got loads of those cases here, but over here, they seem to try and, they really do a good job of keeping them quiet. They put a lid on it straight away, and before you know it, it's just become another story. So now there's no more just becoming another story. We're highlighting that and we're using that as our ammunition to tear down this systemic racism. White supremacy ends. It doesn't continue on.
Yeah. You talked about, when you were growing up, you were a rebel, and coming of age for the black man, because that's what this is about. This is about a state of a black man's mind, especially in this age of, here in the U.S. And like you said over there in London, I mean, I would have never thought now I'm not naive to think that, there's some systemic things going on because the world is ruled by
Yeah.
white supremacy. So I'm not that naive. But when you're coming of age, whether you are in a two-parent household, whether you have a daddy issue, because girls and boys have daddy issues, we know that, right? You're
Oh, yeah.
trying to figure it out. You're 16 to 20. You got the pressure of general life growing up. And like you said, we're taught that we have to do better, work harder. We can't just get it off of our smarts and principles alone. We are truly judged. Emotions for the black boy around the world are told to suppress. Don't cry, get up, wipe yourself off.
That's right.
But in the real world, trying to figure yourself out, those emotions manifest to something. And I think that's what in this fight for Black Lives Matter, for equality, for just an understanding that we are the same. And that's why I asked you off the top, what is it like to walk around as a black man? Because we don't know. I don't know. I share something, but I don't know. And I'm just wondering, during that coming of age, I always ask my brothers the difference between masculinity and manhood.
Right.
Like, when did you realize that, this blackness of mine is deemed inferior, but it's also powerful? And how does that manifest in a man to masculinity?
Right. So I think, so then maybe say late teens, early 20s. I remember the friend sitting down having a conversation saying, we was discussing this, the white man's reaction to us. So I'll give you an example. Like, I'd go into a shop, white man would open the door, like say he was coming out. So he opened the door, I walked in, and he said thank you to me. I was thinking, oh, you opened the door for me and you said thank you. He looked scared as hell. I'm like, what are you scared of? Oh, no, nothing. He walked out. So I remember having this conversation with my friends, and everyone had a similar story of when the white man has just acted scared of this black presence. And we was like, we have a lot of power here. They just keep trying to tell us we ain't got power. And I was like, why are we oppressed so much? Why have we been held down so much? And what we collectively came up with was, when they came over and found us in Africa, when they first came there, they saw some amazing things, what they thought, do you know what? Not only do we need to take this from them, we need to make sure they never get it back again. So we've always discussed, what did they see that was worth going through all of this for? So, and now they've taken our power and now they're using it. And anytime we rub up against our old stuff like Obia and Juju, they put bad spins on these things. So we've always seen them as negative. But when we go back further and further and further, no, we was spiritual, magical beings. Of course we had things that they had no idea about. So when they came and saw it, they decided we need that and they can't have it. Wipe out the ancestral line, wipe out the memories. This not being able to read and write for how long? Yeah. All this was part of take away your knowledge of self so you never know what you actually are. So we've known from an early age, oh, we are powerful. We're just inside the belly of the beast. So we're fighting from the inside out. And something like this, I think nobody could have planned this. COVID put everybody at home. And then when George Floyd, when that happened, rest in peace, George, when that happened, it just so happened everyone's at home. Everyone's got their phones in their hands. There's never been so much attention paid to social media as there was. So it caught fire. And now it's gone around the world and it's amazing. And everyone else is recognizing our power now. So it's a very inspiring time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's all around police brutality. We know it's happening all around the world. Did your parents or guardians ever have to talk with you about what to do when you encountered police? You know, keep your hands at 10 and 2, you know, make sure you stand up straight. Did you ever have that talk with your parents?
No, we didn't have that much of a talk because, so our police haven't got guns. We have special units that have guns. So the average police officer walking on the street has a baton, mace, and handcuffs. There's no guns. Yeah, so the level of threat to an officer killing you on the spot is not the same as for you guys. Okay. It's not quite the same. So it more happens for us in custody and when right, yeah. So you'll go in custody, fine, and then right. So there's not so much shooting on the street, even though Mark Duggan, who I mentioned earlier, he was shot by police, but they would have to like call the arms unit for that. Yeah. So yeah, my mum more gave me the advice of just make it back home. So do whatever you need to do to cooperate and go about your business. Even if that means you need to fully cooperate with these police when they're being unreasonable sometimes. So, you see, for us as well, another thing that I'd want to kind of give you the scope of, my mum and her generation, they came here. My nan was the first generation here.
From Jamaica?
Yeah, from Jamaica. And then she called for my mum at a teenage age.
Gotcha.
So I'm the first generation born here.
Okay.
So
And where are you exactly?
Southeast London.
Okay.
So let me show you what that kind of means for us. So
That's fine.
when my mum came here and her generation, their main thing was to plant roots down to have a better future for their kids, better education, better system. So they were more setting roots down.
Mm-hmm.
I was born, so they had this impression like they knew they didn't belong here, but they're fighting the fight anyway to make a better life for their kids. So they put up with a lot of stuff that when I was born, I'm born here. Times have changed now.
Yes.
You can't treat me like how you treated my uncles. The stories my uncles are telling me got run out of Southeast Catford and Lewisham. Catford and Lewisham is our place. That's black people area. But they're
Okay.
telling me just 20 years before, no, they was getting chased out of there by racist skinheads and football hooligans. We've got a big football hooligan problem over here.
Okay.
Yeah, soccer is very big here, and it's got a lot of hooliganism and racism attached to it. It's systemic. It's built into it. Even though I would never cast the whole game, but it's built in there. So my elders were getting chased out. We grew up like, well, you can't do that to us. We're born here. I've got a British passport. It's different for me. So now my kids they're the second generation born here. Now they've got their feet firmly in English soil. Only just now. So where you guys, you've got generations in America. You can go back a few generations for your. Me, I can only go back one. So we still see ourselves as new to this country. Do you see what I mean? Generation-wise, we're still quite new. So I can see the difference between how my mum saw it, how I see it, and how my child sees it. So, and the big problem I always have, if you're racist, you're racist. Be openly racist.
Please.
Let me see you. Come to me, face
So
me.
we can deal with it. Yeah.
We just deal with it. I'll stay out your way. I'll stay out. Whatever we have to do, we deal with it.
Yeah.
But they put on this face and say multiculturalism and everything's fair and equal rights. And this is the problem. They pretend as though things are moving towards a better place. But I always say, if you're moving at baby steps, so every time something happens, you give us another baby step. Well, if we know that we were supposed to be 100 steps ahead of that, we've started back 400 years late. We're catching up on everything. Land, property, investments, ownership, wealth. We've started 400 years behind you. So these baby steps, I'm sorry, but they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
And we've just learned to settle with that's how it is. And we'll keep fighting from our small pockets, but our mind today, the black man's state of mind today is enough is enough. Yeah. And my kids are not going through what I went through and what my parents went. It's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And the murder of George Floyd seen around the world, it definitely changed the world for sure. I mean, conversations that we would never normally have.
Oh, yes.
Anger surging up. I mean, the protesting, even yourself, you went out and did a little protesting. What are your thoughts on that? The looting, the shooting, the statues coming down. How did you hear about it?
Yeah. Okay. So all right, let's start with the statues. So
I know, I asked a lot of questions at one
we've
time.
got a place here called Bristol.
Okay.
Bristol's like an hour's drive from London, say. And in Bristol, they've got this big. I didn't even know about it until all this started happening. I didn't know about this statue. Apparently, in Bristol city centre, they've got a big statue of somebody called Edward Colson. Edward Colson was one of the biggest slave traders for that time. So apparently there's been lots of petitions to get this statue down over the years, but it just falls on deaf ears. And they make it seem like, we're trying to do something, and then it never goes through and the statue's been there. Yeah. So anyway, when all of this with George Floyd and it started catching around the world, the public went and pulled down that Edward Colston statue. Oh yeah, they tied ropes around it. They just pulled it down. They pulled it down, and there's like a, how can I say, like where you dock up. So there's water where the boats used to come in and dock. He used to bring his slave ships in there and dock. They tore the statue down, rolled it to the edge, and pushed it into the same water where he used to dock his slave ships. The whole nation was going, yes, that's right. Now that kicked off lots of conversations about how far do we go? Where do we draw the line? Well, I'm always saying, it's funny how now we've opened the lid on racism. Now you want to talk about drawing lines.
Drawing
As far
lines.
as I'm concerned, there's no line. If we're cleaning out, we're doing a deep clean. So what they want to do with racism, and what they have done, they've given it like a surface clean. You know, they've wiped down the surfaces, given it a spray. And no, we want to pull out the ovens and the fridge and get behind there. So they don't want to do this deep clean. So the statues now, for me, it's symbolic, really. It's just symbolic of the public saying enough's enough and something's got to be done, and we need to look deeper than we've ever looked before. Yeah. So I just sticking on statues for a sec. So there's another one called, I don't know if you've heard of Winston Churchill.
Yes.
Right. So Winston Churchill is like England's most famous prime minister. He did great things for England. And like, when Hitler was going on his crazy warpath around the world, Churchill stopped Hitler.
Okay.
Churchill stopped Hitler bombing and taking over England. He stopped him in his tracks. So Churchill's revered here as a war hero, as one of the best prime ministers that there's been. Now, that's more like their history. That's not our history. Black people here don't look on it the same way, because although Churchill might have been a hero to you guys, we also know he was fully up for eugenics. He was a white supremacist. He thought the white race was superior. So he was all up for treating black people like non-humans. So for black people, that Churchill statue is the same as the Edward Colston statue. There's no difference. Yeah. So now this is starting to tear at the fabric of Britain now, because people are saying, oh no, you can't take down Churchill. And just the conversation about taking down Churchill is wiling people up, and they think it's so bad. Well, if we're having a deep clean, let's have a deep clean then. And it's like they want to do the surface clean, but they don't want to go right down. Because as soon as you go down, we know this whole thing was built on slavery and the money you got from it. And another thing as well, when I say slavery and the money. So we all just found out recently that after slavery was abolished, and when the slave owners and slave traders got told, you can't do this anymore, then they was paid compensation for the slaves that they had and the money that they would have earned. 20 million at the time, which equates to billions now. We just found out that debt only just stopped getting paid 5 years ago. In 2015, we were still paying compensation for, so things like that. They know that their whole system's built on that. So it's on shaky grounds at the moment. I always say, like, I've been protesting. I just went up to Wolverhampton yesterday. That's like 2 hours out of London north. And then next week I'm going back up north again to protest, because we marching. We ain't stopping. There's no letting up on this one. Look how long it's been, and we're still going, and we're still going, and we ain't letting up. It's still going. So yeah, it's a fight that we are not willing to put down.
And I love that about you, brother. But, you know, because the mental health and fitness of our black man are at stake.
Yes.
It goes underfunded. It is not discussed. Brothers can barely speak to the issues. I love that you are able to talk to some of your brothers about things that are going on in the world. And I hope that you are able to discuss these things on a continuous basis. What would you say to brothers who, have a hard time doing that because you've been told to suppress, because you may be laughed at, because you may be told to man up. What do you want to encourage your brothers to, really get a handle on this? Because you guys are seeing some traumatic things, you're living through traumatic times, and we probably don't even know half of it.
Yeah, it's true because, like we say, when a soldier goes to war and he sees one of his brothers killed at war, when he gets back, there's all kinds of support systems from counseling, all kinds of things to help mental health issues because they
Yeah,
know that he's been through a traumatic time. So we say,
yeah,
what about us? That even, one of my main points with George Floyd was, why do you keep showing it on the TV? Why do you keep
yeah,
repeating this on the TV?
yeah,
If that was a
yeah,
white man, you'd had that blurred out from the first. We would only seen the first two times, and then it would have been blurred out. They
yeah,
kept repeatedly showing it and showing. I'm like, so what do you think that's doing to the average black man's mind state? Right now, we are being traumatized daily by watching another one of us die on a TV. I mean, I've got an 8-year-old son. Why should
mm,
my 8-year-old son be able to see a murder live on TV of one of our own? So even now, I just get that same feeling in my
yeah,
stomach
yeah,
now because it's just
yeah,
it's disgusting, is what it
yeah,
is, that they still are asking the question about racism. There's no
yeah,
question. You know
yeah,
exactly what it is. So the state of the black man's mind over here, yes, there is an element of hard to talk. We've been taught, to be strong, macho. You bottle it up and you just move on, kind of thing. But I must admit, not just because of this George Floyd thing, but in the last few years, I have had a lot more conversations with my brothers that are more open than I say I did in my 20s. In my
okay,
20s, it was a lot more bottled in. We don't really speak about our feelings. But I think just as we get older, we start having families.
yeah,
We start to open up a bit more anyway. So I would say from the age of like 30, from around 30, start settling down and start thinking about long-term plans. And I think then we start to open up a bit more.
yeah,
So the consciousness has definitely shifted. There's been an awakening. So that's
yeah,
an awakening for us as well. There is another notch on the right. We can talk even more now. So
yeah,
I've noticed me and my brothers now, when we sit down, we speak a lot about racism and how deep rooted it is and what that means for us and how
yeah,
we can teach our kids to be better versions of us in society, but at the
yeah,
same time know their strengths and what they're worth as well. Because we were
yeah,
told we're not worth nothing for so long. Lots
yeah,
of them out there believing it.
yeah,
And they give us titles like black on black crime, and then the kids
yeah,
start believing it. They start believe that there is such a thing. There's no such thing as black on black crime. It's crime. When a white man kills another white man, it's not white on white. As a matter of
yeah.
fact, when any other race kills each other, they don't name it Asian on
Yeah.
Asian crime or
No, they don't.
Indian on Indian crime. But for some
You're
reason, with us,
right,
it's black
Badda.
on black crime. There's no such thing as black on. That's a title they've made up to
Wow.
oppress us even more. And I see out in the youth in our communities, it's actually having an effect because they actually do believe this is such a thing, and they believe they're not
And I talk
worth
about it too.
nothing.
And listen, it is so ingrained. The narrative is so real because we also talk about it. Well, what are we going to do about black on black crime? We talk about Black Lives Matter. Do black on black crime matter? So you're right. And listen, this is why I love talking to my brothers because
Yeah.
I am learning something each and every single day. It, I ne- Oh my gosh, I have chills. You just don't even understand.
I
You
know
know,
this.
In addition to, this mental health awareness, self-care is very important. A lot of times we associate mental health awareness with, or mental health issues with, women, or people on drugs, or
Yeah.
a hereditary thing, but we really, really and truly don't focus on men, and especially self-care. It's important. I believe that your music is one of the reasons, that one of the things that kind of keep you centered. You can exhibit your passion, you can exhibit your anger, your emotion, and your viral videos, in your lockdown. I think it was 11 and 10, maybe. Some people, including myself, we just finding out about Tubata.
We're just
But
finding out.
who is Tubata?
Badda is um, he is a very layered person. There's depths to Badda. So, like, I've been on my musical journey for years, and I've always been on the black knowledge and trying to put that in our music, and ancient Egypt and how great our culture used to be. And I often tell my kids, don't think this black history started from slavery. This is
Right,
all they seem
right,
to.
right,
This is
right.
all. This is as far as they can go back. So I'm always up for, let's go much further back, even before Christianity. Let's go. What was we doing before Christianity? Let's go way, way back.
Yeah.
So ancient Egypt and that whole Egyptian civilization has just been such a big passion and interest of mine from such a young age.
Oh,
So
good.
I've always incorporated it in my music. And all right, so my musical influences, so it comes from two sides. Jamaica, my family's all from Jamaica, and right where you are, sis, you see, hip hop, the impact that hip hop had to us over here in Britain. I give you an example. Like I was telling you before, I'm the first generation born here.
Your
So,
family from Spanish Town?
yeah, Spanish town. I see you've been doing your research, sis. So, we're the first generation born here. So, musically, we have no music here. Our musical influences, we always look abroad straight away. So, when I was younger, my influences come from America and Jamaica because there was no black English music that
Right.
got formed through the 80s and 90s. That stuff got formed here. So
Yeah.
American hip hop, the way it impacted young black kids over here, we were breakdancing and spinning on our heads over here, putting lino out at the back and getting the big ghetto blast. We was recreating Beach Street.
B-boy
And
styles,
yeah,
yeah.
we was recreating the whole thing, whole thing. Turbo and Ozone, we were out there with our broomsticks doing we were doing all of that. So yeah, musically, Jamaica and America have been a big influence for me.
Yeah.
And then so I found with the Jamaican style, the patois style of rapping, it was, they used to talk about a certain set of amount of subjects, the latest dance, women, the road, but with rap, I found rap was a lot more, you could go a bit deeper and explain a lot more stories. So like Tupac, Brenda's Got a Baby. That's like the prime example of what you can do with rap. So when we was young and we heard Brenda's Got a Baby, we was like, nah, have you heard this? This is more than just in the clubs and da. This wrenches at your
Making you
soul.
think. Yeah.
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 So I've always been interested and leaned towards that kind of way of music. And then over the years, you push in the music and it didn't happen. So you go off and do other things, but I'm always doing my music, of course. So we've just never given up the fight. And literally the lockdown, I was like, okay, right. So let's put one freestyle out a week. Let's just go at them then. And then 1 to 9, I was talking about current issues and as you hear what I'm going through. And then between 9 and 10, there was a bit of a gap. And then that's when George Floyd happened. So, it's like, it was such a deep issue and loads of people were talking on it. And at first, I didn't even feel like I should say anything.
Yeah.
And then it was so heart-wrenching. And I've got 2 boys and I'm explaining to my boys the times we're living in. And the more I was explaining it, the more I was subconsciously writing these lyrics for it. So when I sat down to write it, it all came out. And I'll tell you one thing, MoMo, it's actually a weird thing how this happened. Every freestyle up to then, I write it, record it, put it up straight away. This one took me a week to write it. I was doing like a bit at a time. For some reason, it just was coming in pieces, bit at a time. And then when I'd finished it, I didn't record it. I sat on it for a couple of days. For some reason, I can't even explain why. It just went like that. I woke up one morning and my son's here with me. He was asleep. And usually to record it, I'd have to turn on the stereo and do a sound check and all. I looked at him asleep. I was like, I can't wait for him to get up. This has got to come out now. MoMo, I jumped in my car and drove up the road like 8:30 in the morning. Turn it on. And so that's why that freestyle, number 10 and 11 are in the car. All the rest, you see me with a white background.
Right.
Home. Yeah. Number 10 was in the car. It came out in the car, recorded it, came back home. He's still asleep. Look, he's there now playing PlayStation. So, yeah, I came back with it. It's when I plugged in my headphones and I listened to it for the first time, a tear came to my eye when I got to a certain part. And I just knew right then, instantly. Remember, I'd written this, I'd recorded this. I know what I say, but it's when I listened back to it for the first time, I felt my eye well up and that pain inside. And I thought, all my brothers around the world are feeling this pain. All my sisters, because this was somebody's brother. This was somebody's son, even though his mum had passed. But this, I'm like, my sisters and my brothers, how are we all feeling now? And we don't discuss this enough. That's why shows like yours are amazing, because we are suffering of mental illness. We've been traumatized. And the difference with our trauma to everyone else's trauma. Everyone else's trauma is recognized. Everyone else's trauma has steps and a process to deal with your trauma. Our trauma is not recognized. No. So we internalize our trauma, and then they got the audacity to give us labels like, as soon as we get angry black man and they're
bitter black woman.
We get that over here all the time. Black woman with too much attitude. No, she's not got too much attitude. She's just a strong black queen. That's all it is. And they make us, they almost give us the impression like we got to suppress our blackness to fit into their white supremacist society. Well, no, that's not how it goes. No. If this is a multicultural society, like what you claim, because they need to claim that to get our money. So this is why this Blackout Day, I don't know if you heard, we had Black Pound Day. So Saturday the 27th just gone, we had a UK nationwide Black Pound Day. So on that day, you only spend your pounds with black businesses. So everybody I'm telling you, sis, we're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. So everybody up and down the country, we're all sharing black businesses. Put it up on your Insta, put it on yours. Like, let's share. Where'd you get this? So everybody just spend black for that day. So then we know the 7th of July is the global Blackout Day. So everybody's joining with that. Oh yeah, I've just got to drop a quick plug here. So 7th of July, my video to number 10 freestyle. So the George Floyd tribute.
Oh, nice.
I recorded the song. It's in song format now. We shot the video to it. So we are going to be dropping that video on the 7th, on Blackout Day. With a full single release as well, the Apple Music, the Spotify, the whole lot. So I will give you first dibs on that. Definitely, 100%. You'll get your exclusive.
I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
So, we're doing this. We're out here. We're pushing.
Listen, the video was so phenomenal. It was so prophetic. I mean, like you said, it brought a tear. I mean, it gave me chills.
I could feel your passion coming through, not only on 10, on 11, but you know me, I go through, I do my research, and
Oh yeah.
I'm going back to when you had episode lockdown. Okay, because people need to understand that this is you. This is part of who Badda is,
This is
and
what I
I
do.
love that it's not only is it going around, but it's really opening conversations and awareness,
Mm.
and bringing a commitment to families. And I feel like every step that we take individually leads us together. What do you feel about unity in the community? Do you think we'll ever get to that, or how do we just get on the same level of walking together?
Yeah. So yeah, over here there is a lot of unity happening now. Everybody. So this is the biggest fear on everybody's. The question on everybody's lips now is, what's next?
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid that the protests and the marching is just going to all die down, like what
It's a
we've
negative
seen
cycle, go away.
before.
Yeah.
So what's next is the biggest question on everybody's lips. So now, what a lot of community leaders, shout out official Rio, just locked on. Rio is another artist from up Manchester side. So I'm taking care of like the London side of things, and Rio's taking care of up north. So
Okay.
we've got community leaders all throughout, all trying to join together now. So now we're trying to merge forces now. So it is a task. There's a lot of work to be done, but this is what my protesting is all about. This is why I went up Wolverhampton yesterday, and this is why I'm going Birmingham, why I'm going to go Manchester to link Rio. It's unity is so important, and we all know it. Everyone's working towards it. So behind the scenes, a lot of people here, so the general public, the general black public, are worried and don't know what's happening because there's not enough information from community leaders. So that would be one thing I would say on here. Community leaders, reaching out to all of my leaders. We need to make it more known across the board what's happening, what's next, because people are losing faith because they haven't got the information. So they're there for the fight, but when they can't see where the fight's going, they start to lose faith a bit. So I've even had a couple people that on my side that were falling off and I had to pick them back up, and no, we're still fighting this. Don't think this is over yet. So unity is in progress. We all know it needs to happen, but I think there needs to be more of like a nationwide campaign. So me and a couple guys that I'm working with, shout out Mr. Dexter Sims, Muller Cake CEO. We're working on a few projects to do exactly that, unite the nation. So we are working hard, tirelessly now behind the scenes, just trying to join things up. Because that's the most important thing now, unity.
It is.
It's the most important thing.
And one question that always, kind of some of my sisters be like, why are you always asking this? But it's something that in order for us to unite that, I think that it's something that we need to understand. How can the black woman support the black man?
Oh, see, the black woman, I think the main thing would be is just, it starts with the kids. It starts with the kids. So to carry on what I'm fighting through the kids, because as the man of the house, if I'm out fighting, someone's at home with these next generation of men. So it's just about the black woman just being on the same page as the black man, know that we are fighting the same fight together. Often, we have our troubles, black man and black woman, and like anyone else. But I would just say to all my sisters out there, like, persevere, be strong, have your brother's back, have his back in this fight, because we need the strength of our women. Our women are so important. They're the ones who are raising the next generation. They're the ones who are keeping a home. They're the ones who are installing the discipline when we're not there and carrying it on. So I would say, black woman, stand with your black man through this time, because he needs your help. He needs your help. Just be a supportive structure. It's not specifically do this or do that. Just be that support system for your black man in this time, because he's in a time of need right now. He's under attack. but we're out on the front line as well. So we are taking the fight to them. We just need our sisters just to fight with us and just to be a supportive role in our lives.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're not. There's a lot of sisters out here like yourself who are doing great things in the community. And yesterday in Wolverhampton, a lady called Rachel put on the demonstration and she organized it all. And yeah, there's lots of sisters out here fighting the fight. And we were marching in the rain, Momo. It started raining on us and we said, racism doesn't take a day off. We ain't taking a day off.
That's
We
right.
marched
I
in the
know that's
rain.
right.
I had my big megaphone shouting down the whole
Yeah.
of Wolverhampton city centre, like they need to know we are not letting up. So yeah, we out here, man. We out here.
We got to keep up the fight. I tell my listeners every day, no matter what, we have to keep up the fight, no matter how tiresome it is. Somebody fought before us, and like you said, the children are going to be fighting after us. Are you guys still open out there? Are you guys open out there with COVID? I mean, how is London, England doing right now
Yeah,
with
well,
COVID?
well, they're opening up gradually. So yeah, they've started opening back up. So retail's back up. You can buy and go and buy clothes now.
You think
So
it's too soon?
yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. Because like the way everything's been going through COVID, it's like they're gambling health with economics. You're opening back up for the economy, but public health, you should not be opening up yet. If the disease is spreading the way you said it spread, then there's no way we should be opening up this stuff. So that leads into other areas where we know there's definitely a pandemic about the place, but is it exactly what you said it is? There seems to be something not quite right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're opening up slowly. So things like bars and clubs, they're not open yet. Restaurants not open. But then like
Yeah, and I would think that who is your what is he called? A prime minister?
yeah, Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
He had the COVID, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You would think he would want to make sure that the country is closed.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, I don't know. It's just common sense. Just me and you talking.
It's just common sense. It's like when they were talking about opening back up, we was like, why has the R rate gone down? Has the cases stopped? Is there no more cases? Oh yeah, there's still cases daily. There was a point, Momo, where we was up to like 800 deaths a day. So how are we opening so soon? So even in my freestyles, you would hear there was points where I was getting onto Boris, and I'm like, if you're saying this and you're saying that, and you're using the science, that's what they kept saying.
Yeah,
They're relying on the data from the science.
Yeah.
What science? Who's giving you this data? Why is that data not public record? We want to see the data because everything seems to be governed by this data that no one else knows about. And when we were looking out in the rest of the... Sorry, go on.
It seems like all they're reporting are numbers from, I mean, they have them sectioned off, like England has 160 plus thousand cases, Scotland has 15,000, Wales has 15,000, but they're not really giving any death information or any, well, I'm sorry, they did say 43,575 in overall London, the UK has passed away, but I think that there needs to be a lot more information passed out to the community, and just like here in the U.S., that the economy can wait. But you know what, Badda? Conversely, there are some people saying that let's just go ahead and open up. I mean, this is not as bad as the flu or influenza. People have died. More people have died. More people will die. Flu season is coming up. They don't know if the numbers are jammed up. Yeah. So let's just go out there and see.
See, I ain't looking to gamble with my life like that. This is a gamble.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know enough information. So this is a brand new disease that no one's ever seen before.
Right.
Like there needs to be some, like the testing. The testing is a big thing. The more we test, the more we know about.
Do you guys have free testing out there?
Right. So no. So the testing is for limited people, for limited sectors. Like the average public can't just go and get a test. So what they do, they're sending They're even sending tests out in the post to certain people and marking those down in their results. Like, yes, we've performed 200,000 tests. No, you haven't. You performed 80,000 tests, but you sent 200,000 out in the post, 120,000 of them, you don't even know the results yet. You ain't got the results back. So they're fabricating the numbers of how much testing they're doing to make it look like, yeah, we're doing as much testing as we can. We can open back up now. The economy is suffering. That's all we keep hearing. The economy is suffering. So we can see that you're opening up for economy reasons, not for health reasons. We can see that. So there are a lot of people worried to go out. But then at the same time, the George Floyd thing happened. And we're like, well, you know what? We're out there. We need to show numbers in solidarity. We'll do what we can, mask up. We'll try and keep social distancing if we can, but we're out there. And the numbers that turned out for George was like, you know what? COVID.
Be damned, you got to go.
Exactly. So that's where
now, forgive me for being ignorant. Is the prime minister voted in?
His party is. So his political party is voted in, and Mark Twain said once, if voting mattered, if voting made a difference, they wouldn't let you do it. So over here, we are not very convinced with this government voting system, and there's a lot of black people over here who don't vote because we don't believe our vote counts. Now, there's another section of people that are saying, our ancestors didn't die and fight for us to vote, so you could just throw your vote away. Use that vote, because people fought so you could have that vote. So it's a very mixed culture here, very mixed.
Are there blacks in government?
No. So so we got the Houses of Parliament where we have lots of MPs. There's one or two in there. There's a few more Asian, Indian-looking guys in there. But black people in power, no. So, yeah, over here it's very, even those conversations have been coming up lately, like how much black people, and they try to put us, do you know this BAME, this title what they give, so black, Asian and minority, they call us BAME. So they put us all together in this group, like anything a minority, you fit in this BAME category. And we're like, we're not in the BAME category. We are black. They are Asian. Two of us accordingly. So they will put us all in the BAME category and then put two Indian people in government and say, see, look, we're catering for the BAME community. No, that's the Indian community. There's no black man in there. So we're not, yes, Momo. It's over here, it's political.
Different and the same.
Yeah. What I like about America is, like, obviously you guys had the Panthers and you've got that kind of cultural history in there, like black power. When the glove was raised at that Olympics, like, we all know about that here. We know about Martin and the Million Man March. And so those things echo over to Britain. And so we love all of that. We know you guys have got a very strong black culture over there because you've been there a while. You've established a black communities. Here, we're only just establishing those. Like I said, I'm the first generation born. So before me, it was 100% racist. The nurses that came here in the 60s to help fix Britain back after the war, England, Jamaica used to be a colony of Britain. So the Queen used to govern Jamaica. Then they became independent. And then the British went back over to Jamaica and recruited them for work in England. Come to England. So this is what they did to my nan. Come to England and work. When my nan got here, she was faced with racism she didn't even know existed. She just come from sunny, tropical, colorful Jamaica. She got to England. She got to England and thought, it's cold, it's gray, the sky's always gray, and they hate black people here. Where the nurses were being told, I don't want you to touch me. Go and get a white nurse. This is only 20 years ago. This isn't 50 years ago or 6. This is 20 years ago. Nurses were being told, I don't want that black nurse anywhere near me. Go and get white nurses. So as you can see, when I say I'm the first generation born here, I mean, they were 100% racist just the other day. If we're talking in history terms, that's last week. That was the other day compared to how long we've been fighting this fight. So yeah, Britain is very good at putting on a mask. Very good.
Wow.
But underneath it all, it's the same. It's the same as over there and here. We're facing the same stuff.
We're fighting it. We're fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
My brother, you know, I feel like I want to talk to you for like 5 hours, and we still probably wouldn't even scratch the surface, right? I want to thank you so much, artist. Your video has gone viral. Everybody wants to get a little bit of Badda. Tell everybody where they can follow you, as if, you know, they don't know by now.
Yeah. Well, it's at Badda. So number 2. BADDA. So
we already know why.
Yeah. So Instagram, Facebook, all of that, Twitter, all of that. And then look out for the single. So the single's dropping on the 7th of July. The Awakening.
The Awakening.
And
okay.
Yeah, that's the George Floyd tribute.
All right.
So yeah, we got some powerful images in that one there, Momo. Oh, we shot some of the scenes in central London, right outside one of those main statues that they keep talking about. Yeah, we was right outside there showing our solidarity. So yeah, the video's got some powerful images in there. So we want to get it around. We want to spread this message far and wide. Because like you said, it went viral. The love coming back's amazing. It's amazing the comments I'm getting, and people want to fight. People like, where's the fight? Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just need to keep spreading the message. And music is our tool. We know how to work the music. So that's what we're doing.
I want to thank you so much for joining this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. I try to have these conversations with our brothers in light of everything that is going on, because like you said, we just need to focus more. We need to support. We need to be supportive, and we need to understand how we can move our movement forward. So to Badda.
Yes, MoMo Love.
Thank you so much. I'll be looking out for my track so I can play it as soon as possible. I'll be sharing, and just letting the world know who Badda is, and they need to get on board.
Thank you, sis. And you keep in contact, and I'll let you know.
Yes, I will.
When that video is ready, I'll hit you up straight away.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.
Bless you, sister.
Bless you.
All right.